All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever been in a startup, you know this feeling, that kind of silent, simmering tension between the product team and the engineering team. It's this weird conflict that never really explodes, but it's always there, just draining energy, slowing everything down, and honestly, it can quietly sink a company. So today, we're going to diagnose this silent war and give you the patch to fix it. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures the stakes, doesn't it? When the folks dreaming up the future aren't in sync with the folks who are actually building it, that beautiful roadmap isn't a plan. It's just a story. It's fan fiction. It's fun to imagine, for sure, but it's completely detached from reality. So let's set the scene here. Picture a typical seed stage company, right? Super smart people, everybody's got good intentions, maybe there's a ping pong table in the corner. But for some reason, despite all that motivation, things just aren't shipping on time. Why? Well, the conflict actually starts with the very nature of the jobs themselves. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This slide breaks down the core tension. See, product managers, they're hired to promise outcomes. They're the ones saying, we are going to build this amazing feature, and it's going to delight our customers and grow the business. Engineers, on the other hand, well, they live in the real world. They have to manage constraints, time, technical debt, the actual laws of physics. One pushes for what's possible, the other manages what's practical. This isn't good versus evil, it's just a natural, built-in point of friction. And look, this friction, it's way more than just a minor annoyance. It has these deep, hidden costs. So to fix it, we've got to properly diagnose it first. So let's put on our lab coats for a second and figure out what is really going on underneath all the missed deadlines and frustrating meetings. And that's the critical question, isn't it? What's the actual disease here, not just the symptoms? Because it's so easy to blame people, right? But the real problem, it's usually baked right into the system itself. Okay, let's fire up the X-ray machine. We're going to take a look inside the inner workings of the team and see what's actually causing the blockage. And there it is. The X-ray finding is simple: misalignment. It's not about incompetence. It's not about bad intentions. It's a fundamental misalignment over one single destructive thing: scope. It's the reason why, without some kind of explicit agreement, product asks for a skateboard and engineering starts building a scooter. And this constant mismatch just erodes trust sprint after sprint. So now that we have the diagnosis, what's the actual damage report? What is the tangible bottom line cost of this chronic misalignment? It's two of the most expensive words in the entire startup world: rework and delay. Time just gets wasted building the wrong thing or rebuilding it to match a new understanding. All while the clock is ticking, your competitors are shipping, and your customers are left waiting for a feature that feels like it's perpetually almost done. And you know what happens next, right? All this frustration builds up until you hit what we call the snap moment. It's that super tense meeting where someone finally just throws their hands up and asks the one question that cuts through all the noise. So, what are we actually shipping? That's the moment the fanfiction crashes headfirst into reality. But here is the good news. This is a fixable problem, and the solution isn't another complicated tool or some week-long offsite. Nope, it's a simple, elegant system patch that addresses the root cause directly. We call this patch the shared contract. And honestly, the most important word on this slide is shared. This is not a document that product just hands down to engineering. It's a living agreement that both teams build and commit to, together. So what is it exactly? Well, a shared contract is basically an explicit, upfront agreement on all the hard stuff. It forces that conversation about trade-offs. Like, if we want this to be fast, we might have to sacrifice some polish. If we want it to be perfect, it's going to take more time. And crucially, it defines exactly what done looks like to everyone involved before a single line of code is written. So this contract, it's built on 4 key points. First, the problem. Are we all trying to solve the exact same customer problem? Second, the success metric. What's the one number that will tell us we've won? Third, the constraints. What are our real-world limits on time and tech? And finally, number 4, the cutoff. What are we explicitly not doing in this version? And let me tell you, that last one is your secret weapon against scope creep. So what happens when a team actually applies this patch? The transformation is pretty much immediate, and it's profound. You stop slipping on your deadlines and you start shipping with real momentum. And this just illustrates the difference so clearly. You go from a world of vague promises to a concrete shared contract. That destructive scope creep gets replaced by a clearly defined scope, and that vicious cycle of delays and rework, it transforms into a virtuous cycle where you ship, you learn from real customers, and then you iterate. You just start moving faster with way less friction. So, here's the crucial takeaway. If your teams are at odds, you have to resist the urge to blame individuals. The tension between product and engineering, it's not a people problem, it is a system problem. Think of it like a bug in your company's operating system. And just like any bug, it can be patched. And that really brings us to the final thought here. This whole framework, diagnosing a system failure and applying a targeted patch, it doesn't just apply to product and engineering. So take a look at your own team, at your own startup. What's the next silent war that's slowing you down? And what's the next patch your team really needs?